Jason Rzucidlo reporting for AmericaJR.com, and I'm being joined by John Fithian, President and CEO of the National Association of Theater Owners. How are you today?
I'm good, Jason. How are you doing?
Very good. So go ahead and tell me some of the changes in the theater business.
Well, we're changing in our technology. We used film technologies for 100 years, and now we're almost fully converted to digital. And digital gives us all kinds of flexibility in programming. It means that the quality of the image on the screen stays consistently good from the beginning to the end of that movie run in our cinemas. Lets us bring in alternative content and things like the opera, so it's a really exciting technology for us. That's one big change. Kind of a second big change is that the cinema business is really going global. And the biggest growth markets in the world are places like China and Russia and Latin America. In China, we're building more than 10 movie screens a day just to keep up with the demand for a huge population that's growing to love their movies. So the business is growing globally very rapidly.
Okay. And as you said, the film is changing. So are you not sending out films anymore? Everything's digital via email, or how is that working?
We're not fully converted yet. We're 95% of the way there. There are still a few movie houses around the world that are still showing film, and so there's some content coming in film. There's still a few filmmakers that like film. Christopher Nolan, for example, wants to have at least some film for Interstellar, so we understand that. But for the most case, most movies are coming out in digital all around the world.
Okay. And as far as the theaters are getting more luxurious, like the seats are more comfy, and there's bars and restaurants now and all that type of stuff.
Absolutely. We're going through a major transformation in the cinema business from the old format of just slope floors and regular seats and nothing but popcorn and soda to a whole new cinema experience, which is stadium seating, digital sound and projection, immersive audio, luxury services like high-end food and beer and wine service. And our patrons are really liking these amenities as we grow it out across the world.
Okay. Now, why is it that some films get a wide release and others are maybe only in a few select theaters?
Distributors have to make very tough decisions on how they release their movies to our cinemas. In some cases, we know that the brand of the movie is big enough it's going to go wide quickly, or that the marketing budget's big enough. In other cases, distributors have smaller movies that they're not sure are going to work, or if they are going to work, how big they're going to be. So in the first case, what we call a wide release, you start big, the first weekend's huge, that's kind of the blockbuster model. The other model, though, is you take something that might not be a known quantity yet, and you release it to a few cinemas and you platform it out, as we call, where you grow as the audience demand grows. And sometimes movies can platform out to be as big as that original blockbuster. We just didn't know it at the beginning.
Now, as you said in your presentation, the ticket prices are going down, you said, but I've seen some theaters with prices up to like $20 a ticket.
No, I didn't mean to suggest that they're going down, but the ticket prices are increasing at a pace that's slower than inflation. Over the last 40 years, we tracked our ticket prices against inflation, and yes, our ticket prices have gone up, but they haven't gone up as fast as inflation, which means that as cinema owners around the world are building fabulous new cinemas with all kinds of amenities, it's still affordable for the vast majority of people who are out there. The other thing I'd say about prices is that we want to give some choices, okay? So the high-end luxury cinema with the big seats and the fancy food service may have one ticket price, or the IMAX or big screen may have a big ticket price, but the regular traditional cinema is going to have a lower ticket price. The idea is to give consumers a choice that they can find affordable.
I want to talk about the impact of Netflix and what is that having on the theaters?
Well, Netflix is an interesting model of a subscription service where you can eat all you want, as one would say, and for a certain type of content, that's a great model. You know, my wife and I, we watch Netflix all the time. But it's not the right model to release movies to Netflix at the same time they're coming into cinemas. And the reason for that is consumers know that there's a difference. There's a difference between going out and seeing a movie in the cinema and watching a made-for-television movie. We don't want to homogenize the product so consumers don't have choices. Yes, the movies in our cinemas eventually make it to the home screen, and they should, so that these properties can be monetized across all the channels. But the idea that Netflix has of releasing content everywhere at the same time is really quite bad for the overall business.
And as you stated in the question and answer session, what do you say to those who say, you know, I want to be able to watch that movie the same day that it came out in the theater?
Well, you know, if you give consumers what they want, quote unquote, they want every product available everywhere at the same time, and they want it for free. Okay, that's not a business model that works. When you dive a little deeper and you talk to consumers and you say, look, it's these release patterns that allow the movie maker, the filmmaker, and the cinema operator and the TV channel all to make money, and that's what goes back into producing more movies for you, the thought changes a little bit. When consumers know it takes these kind of patterns to preserve the economic model so they can have great shows in the future, then they understand it.
Okay. And we also had a speaker from a company called Tug. Are you going to be working with him, or do you suggest the theaters to work with him?
Oh, our theaters are already working with Tug and other models like that. I think it's fantastic. One of the benefits of that digital technology that we talked about earlier is that we really can be flexible in our programming. And the way Tug works as a new innovation for us is if enough people sign up to say, hey, I'd like to watch that classic movie or that new independent movie in this auditorium at a certain time, the deal's made, the credit cards are charged, and they show up and have a great time. And it really is a risk-free proposition on knowing you've got the consumers with the demand for a movie at a certain time before it happens. So I'm really encouraged, and our members are aggressively looking at it.
Okay. Now, sometimes I'm in a movie theater and I'm the only one there. And then other times I go to like a GoFobo screening and every single seat is filled. What do you say about that?
Well, there's a big unused capacity issue in movie theaters because we have 40,000 auditoriums in this country, another 120,000 around the world. And yes, on Friday and Saturday nights, most of them are packed, right? But they're not packed on Thursday evening. They're not packed on Wednesday afternoon. And so we're trying to find new and different ways of programming to greater utilize that capacity. And digital cinema enables this through things like rock concerts and opera and educational programming. We can use that environment, that cinema auditorium and that screen and that great sound system to show any type of content now, and that will help us with our capacity rates.
And as you stated, LA has one of the only 4D theaters at LA Live there. Do you see that taking off nationwide?
We'll see about this country. 4D is an experience that challenges your sight, sound, the motion of your seat. Sometimes your senses are mist in the air. It's selling like crazy in Korea and Mexico. And don't ask me why Koreans and Mexicans really love this stuff. I don't know. We're experimenting with it now here in the States, and if it works, we'll grow it out. So it's a to be seen. We're not sure yet.
Okay. Any other comments you'd like to talk about?
No, I think USC was great to have this conference today and bring in a lot of really interesting speakers. The entertainment business is very dynamic right now. There's a lot of change, so it's an exciting place to be.
All right. Thanks so much. Nice talking with you today.